Good afternoon,
Hello
everyone.
everyone, and welcome all of you to this 50th session of Yashaswini and Idol. We have already completed 49, and today is the 50th session. And we have with us CA Ravi Patwa, Central Council member and Vice Chairman of Women and Young Members Committee. Welcome, Ravi Bhai. And myself, CA Preeti Saula, chairperson of this committee. So both of us, with this new year and with all zeal and enthusiasm, have decided to continue this Yashaswini series and at least complete 100 episodes of Yashaswini series. And with that, we are coming back this year, being the new year for ICI, and we have with this year we have CA Charanjot Singh Nanda ji as a president ICI and CA Prasanna Kumar D as a vice president ICI. We will invite them also in forthcoming sessions. Today's sessions, being we are coming season of bank audit is coming, and we thought it is very necessary and helpful to have a session on bank branch audit, because majority of us are actually into bank branch audit, and Ravi Bhai happens to be also the vice chairman of AASB. So each bank audit sessions are conducted across India, right? And along with that, technology is also important, and that's why we have this session, bank branch audit, along with the technology. And for that, we have the speakers today, CA Dr. Pinky Agarwal, who will take us through the artificial intelligence required in the auditing and finance. And we have with us the second speaker, Padmashri Kashto, will be documentation and the planning for bank branch audit. And today's moderators, I also welcome them, CA Falguni Gandhi, Shweta Panelia, Zankhana Desai, and Agna Shah. With these words, I welcome back all of you. You all are invited to become a speaker or as a moderator. This is a platform by women, for women, and with that, we welcome all of you. So please contact me or CA Ravi Patwa, the vice chairman of the committee, or the secretariat anytime for any support required from our side. With these words, I welcome all of you once again, and I request CA Ravi Patwa to give his welcome address and his thought process for this committee for this year. Over to Ravi Bhai.
Thank you, Preeti Ben. Under your leadership, this committee is going to grow manifold this year, I'm sure. I recognize the presence of Falguni ji, Jankhana ji, Agna ji, and Shweta ji, the four moderators, and a very important person, in fact, the most important person for the first 1 hour from 5 to 6, CA Dr. Pinky Agarwal, who would be enlightening all of us on artificial intelligence, which of course is all encompassing now. No field is left untouched by it. And she will be enlightening us on artificial intelligence usage in audit and in finance. After that, we will have another session by Madam Padmashri Krasto, who is a very good auditor herself. She'll be discussing about documentation aspects of audit. Friends, I congratulate each and everyone present in this webinar, because this is the Golden Jubilee webinar under the series Yashaswini and Idol. This initiative of Preeti Ben, which she started a couple of years back, is something which has really taken off very well. And I'm sure that this year, as she promised today, century will be touched. We all are there with you, with you, madam, and will ensure that the 100 mark is touched in the calendar year 26, in the beginning of calendar year 26, and in the council term 25-26 itself. Friends, bank audit season is knocking on the doors. All of you must have geared up for conducting your bank branch audits, and some of you may be central auditors in banks. Now we all know how to conduct the bank audit. Many a times we falter in documenting the aspects which we have covered in the bank branch audit, and it so happens in all the other kinds of audits. Today, whatever issues are coming up with the regulatory authorities that is beyond our institute is because of the fact that we do a lot of things, but we do not portray that we have done. Rather, we are not in a position to portray what we have done because the documentation is not proper. So the second session is of great importance because of that. So stay put till the end. And artificial intelligence, as I uttered in the beginning itself, is of paramount importance, and it has touched all faculties of life of ours. Obviously, if we use artificial intelligence, our quality of audit will leapfrog. Considering this, what Madam Pinky Agarwal is going to say is going to be of great value to all of you. With these words, I once again welcome all of you to this program, to this webinar, to this Golden Jubilee webinar rather. Thank you very, very much, friends. Thanks, Atra.
Over to moderators.
Yeah. Good afternoon,
Thank you,
everyone.
Ravi Bhai, for giving your welcome address and making understand the importance of these sessions. And it is the apt time where our WMAC and we have structured this session. So thank you very much for all your support and giving the guidance to the committee and taking the committee to the next level.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Women Members Excellence Committee of ICI, it's my pleasure to welcome all of you to the Yashashvi and Idol series. As Preeti Savla has mentioned, that this is Yashashvi means power to women, and power can come by knowledge. So this series is a real success started by her, and I welcome the chairman and vice chairman and thank them for their introductory speech. And it is my pleasure today to introduce you to CA Pinky Agarwal, who is our speaker for today. And I'm taking the privilege of introducing her. She's a chartered accountant with a doctorate in commerce and 25 years of varied vast experience. She's a certified trainer for ICAI's AI courses and a resource person for IIM Mumbai CA Institute and other institutions. Passionate about AI in finance and accounting, she has received multiple awards and contributed to the AI-driven advancements in the profession. I think that she's an apt person today to talk about AI, and we would really look forward to having to hear her. Welcome, CA Pinky Agarwal.
Thank you, Faguni, for such a wonderful introduction. I really thank Preeti Madam. She's always means for the women, by the women, and rightly she said ki this also committee. And I thank our Vice Chairman Sir Ravi sir. I know under your, you can say, reigns, this committee is going to grow and flourish. I am feeling so lucky ki I am a part of this 50th episode. So thankful to ma'am ki okay, she invited me and to this prestigious, I can say this is one of the movement of our CA fraternity. Of course, AI is now very much closer to my heart, and I'm thankful to AI committee as well, because when the certificate course was incorporated, they had invited few of us to be a part of the, you can say, the course curriculum and everything. So from the beginning, I was there. And of course, very less time and we cannot cover everything. That is why I will request everyone, you should please opt for the AI course, certificate course. It's a very good course of 3 days course, and wherein you will get lots of hands-on experience on the different AI tools, where you will learn how to use finance and auditing. Everything is being covered there. So I am just becoming a representative of that committee, don't mind. But of course, I will cover the how it is helping, how AI tool is helping in audit and finance, that I'm going to cover. Few free AI tools which we can use in our audit process, we can of course cover that. So I'm just going to share my PPT, little bit of PPT is so so we are going to cover today. Sorry, this is the so give me 1 second. I think
It's visible. Presentation is visible, Pinky.
yes, ma'am. 1 second. Give me 1 second, ma'am. I think something has happened. Give me 1 second. I'll share again. Okay. So now it is visible, na, ma'am? Yeah.
Not visible.
Not visible. 1 second. देखो AI की बात कर रहे हैं हम लोग और AI नहीं हमें हेल्प कर रहा है. Yes, ma'am. I will again share this. Yeah. So this is the. So today's topic is AI in finance and audit, and we are going to cover this. Of course, let us know the variants of generative AI. So we call it as Gen I, and different ways we are using AI in our life. Like for example, GPT, Jasper, AI Writer, and Lex for all text generation tools. So many of you are using ChatGPT, and believe me, I have used ChatGPT a lot. But professional like us should be very careful when we are using ChatGPT, because sometimes I do test ChatGPT and there are some flaws in WhatsApp. And to overcome all these, our CA Institute has come out with CA GPT. So instead of using ChatGPT for any you can say technical things you want to question, it's better to use CA GPT, wherein you can so they are all correlated with our actual provision, taxation provision, auditing, everything. So whenever you want to ask any question related to audit, taxation, better you enter into CAGPT. It will give the same prompt as ChatGPT only. There you have to ask the queries. And I will also show you a demo also. It will give the whole list, whatever steps. So any newcomer in the CA fraternity and wants to know the steps of bank audit or what precautions need to be taken, it's going to give you the whole list and you can just carry on with this. Earlier, we were dependent on our seniors and we were looking forward to someone should guide us. But now everything is available. You can do it. So these are different variants of Gen AI which we are using. These are all free tools. Some are paid also. Like image generation, you can do through Delhi 2, Midjourney, Stable Diffusion. Delhi 2, you can definitely go. It's a free tool. Music generation, Amper, DataBots, MuseNet. Code generation, you can do through GitHub, Copilot, Tab9, voice synthesis, listener, podcast AI. Podcast AI, many people are using right now. Now, even when we are we are conducting this session, we can also use the same. So what happens? We can also record this session, and we can also use AI tools to record this session, which is going to record everything, and also the flybees. What happens? They are recording everything, and also writing also they are giving. Now, why we are using Gen I? Of course, for convenience and efficiency, smartphones, smart homes, everything is smart now, and we are using everything smart now. Productivity and automation, everything has become automated. Email management. So if someone is not there available, automatically AI tool gives you there. Automatically a message comes, I am not available. You can just drop your message. In the mail also you can use this. WhatsApp has undergone a lot of changes because of this. So you can see a lot of innovation, productivity has increased, automation has been done because of the usage of Gen AI. Now, how Gen AI is transforming the financial sector? So, let me tell you, earlier, we required research analyst in order to analyze the full financial statement. So we were called to calculate the ratios and everything. Now it is not required at all. You can just feed in the full financial statement in the chat GPT itself, and you can ask whatever you want to calculate, they will give the interpretation as well. Now, if you want to say, supposing you want to analyze the capital market, okay, which security or which, say, company is giving the highest return, upload the full balance sheet. So they have the facility of uploading the full financial statement as well, and you can just compare, say, 2 3 companies at a time, and you can just say, okay, analyze the company on the basis of profitability, on the basis of capital structure, all these. It gives really a wonderful analysis if you want. So that's a very simplest tool which you can use for the analysis part. They do everything: sentiment analysis, also sensitivity analysis, investment analysis, everything. It can be done. So what happens, you can say the lower level and mid level jobs, they have become really very much, you can say, now people, they say they can use chat gpt, they can use AI tools. Why they require? So our responsibility is that how to overcome this challenge. This challenge can only be overcome when you are updated, when you are aware ki what the chat gpt cannot perform, you have to perform beyond that. So here what happens, you have to upgrade your skill now. We cannot just harp on the same tune. Okay, we know all this, no one can beat us. Now, definitely, if you want to try, you try out a prompt. So in the chat GPT, the prompt plays very important role. And whenever you are giving a prompt, you should be very specific. The prompt you want the financial analysis. If you give just do the performance, just do the financial analysis, that is not sufficient. You have to write specifically, perform the financial or do the financial analysis on the basis of profitability, on the basis of the capital structure. You should be very specific whenever you are giving a prompt, and see the result. It gives marvelous result. So this was about the analysis part. Now, customer experience. Now, you must have noticed whenever you are entering into, say, any airline site or any other site, there are chatbots who are there to help you. May I help you? They give the name also to the chatbots. So what happens is life has become very easy now. So all the daily routine work are done through chatbots. And even in the banking also, even in the investment, say, consultancy firm also, they are using chatbots to handle this regular routine job. So what happens, the manpower now, they are now devoted towards the more skilled job. So that is why all the skilled persons are demanded nowadays. Now, of course, if you have chatbots, if you're providing these services to the customers, better services on prompto, you are giving the services, you will definitely be more superior as compared to your competitors. Fraud detection security, it's a very good tool. I can say you can use this. So they can, from the list of transaction, they can just find out the duplicated, any transactions which are duplicate. It's a very good, so there are free tools also which you can use to detect the frauds, and they can definitely, believe me, they really are detecting in a very good manner. Many of our CA professionals have started using that also. So all these are covered in the use cases whenever you are attending that certificate course. It's a very innovative. It reduces the cost. So some people feel that okay, it enhances the cost whenever we are installing the chatbots, or whenever we are actually paying for the your AI tools. But if you compare it with the manpower which you are hiring and the AI tools, it will always be better in the cost also. So better you should calculate it and you should go for it. In every manner, you can say it is really helping in the financial sector. Let us go to a small history of the AI, how it evolved. So it evolved in the 2014 with Apple Pay launch, and it traveled through the whole journey, and now it is the sky is the limit. So you can say lots, and so every day, even if you learn one, say, AI tool, you will see after a few days it has become redundant. A new AI tool comes and takes its place. So a lot of new versions of Chat GPT has come, which has made it more simpler. So you have to, so just it's a, you can say you should be aware of whatever the latest tool which has come into the market, and how to use it. Do not again use the same old AI tool which you are using. You have to be very much updated and with the innovations which are happening in the AI world. So robo advisor, believe me, it's a beautiful, you can say. Whenever I can say, if I'm using say online to say Zero, the coin has a tool. So a pop-up box has a coming. Sometimes robo advisors are also there who can make a call. Okay, whatever is your risk appetite, and as per your risk appetite, they invest in the market. They make a portfolio for us. So all routine work type of job or say small savers, they are catered by the robo advisors. And of course, it is really helping the business to grow more and more. So AI-driven chatbots, which I have already discovered, facial recognition, all these are being invented from. So it's a journey of 2014 till now, where it has changed drastically. Now, and of course, BFSI sector, AI really plays very important role since, finance and audit and financial services are the backbone of Indian economy. And artificial intelligence has really changed, you can say, the whole, you can say the applicability or the mechanism of the whole sector. So through artificial intelligence, you must have noticed you're using mobile banking, online payments, AI-powered financial tools. All these are being used in the sector. And this is, so algorithm trading. Many consultancy firms have started using this. And believe me, whatever their prediction is this, so the predictions are based on the statistical analysis which they are doing. And so statistical tools, earlier, it was very difficult. Not everyone was aware of this. But now what is happening, it is quite become simpler now. If you are using AI tools, they do the statistical analysis, everything from their end and come out with the result. So the algorithmic calculation or analysis of the data, identifying patterns, making prediction has become very much easier. So you can see that your AI application is done in such a manner that natural NLP is being used, machine learning, cognitive computing. In this manner, we are using AI. So cognitive computing again relates to algorithm trading. And of course, AML and fraud detection is done. Robo advice is done through NLP. Machine learning is again for chatbot and customer. These are all technical things which AI applications you are using in your finance. So a little bit of we are just touching upon how AI has benefited in the accounting area. So the main challenge in the accounting area was manual processing of complex documents. It was very difficult to keep track of all the records, all the data. Now, if you will see that many companies have adopted AI tools in the accounting area to overcome this challenge of manual processing. So if you will see that JP Morgan is using Doc LLM and Spectrum GPT, Einstein using his accounts payable smart processing, Zero integrated AI features in accounting software. Now, what they have done, they have automized the whole manual processing of the documents. So everything. So we used to, we are from that era when Tally was introduced. We felt so happy. Okay, now we don't have to pass a journal entry. Everything is done on a digitalized manner. But now you don't have to do anything at all. Just complete all the invoices, reports you have to feed in the system, and automatically it will give you the full, you can say, financial statement along with the analysis part also. So you don't have to record also nowadays. So the life has become so easy. So if you see the impact of AI in the accounting area, you will see that it automatically extract data from invoices and receipts, and they categorize it also, they code it also, so you don't have to break head. So I remember earlier when Tally was used by our accountant, we used to guide him, okay, this is on a different head, and this is, you have done a wrong coding, and because of the wrong coding, the financial statement was not so showing a correct picture, the expense categorization was actually wrong. But now this has all been overcome. What is there? They are extracting data automatically and they are coding it itself accordingly. They prepare the financial statement. So this how it has benefited Of course, this has reduced processing time. You don't have to buy time from your clients. It has improved accuracy also by minimizing the errors. So now you don't have to concentrate on checking the errors. Ki, okay, this is the wrong coding. So our audit process will change now. So if any accounts has been drafted through AI tools, the different challenges will come into picture. Not the manual coding. You don't have to. Auditing trail process also should be changed now. Maybe we will have to change lot of steps which we are using in the audit. So ICI is there in this process. So it's a request, if any company is using AI tools for all these manual processes, please try to change or put some variation in the audit process also. Of course, everything is AI driven, so it is actually helping in one sense also, and also creating a lot of challenges. Now, if we want to see that how it has impacted our auditing, so today's topic was auditing only, and we have to emphasize on audit process, how AI tools has helped us. So we have already discussed that it has helped in analyzing the financial data for fraud detection, anomaly identification, and risk assessment. So you can easily find out, okay, where are the prone areas. Through AI tools, you can just feed into the data. Now, always remember, whenever you're feeding into the data, there are certain ethical consideration also, which we'll discuss also, so that whenever you're using AI tool, just don't use AI blindly. I can give you one example. Now, what happens? One of the professional person, they got one this notice from GST department. On behalf of their client, what they did, they just totally had attached the document and fed it into the chat GPT without removing the name of their client also. And what is happening? They ask you, okay, what should be the response of the what should be the response to the department? Of course, ChatGPT gave the answer. You must have seen in the newspaper also this gave the answer with all wrong case laws. All case judgment was wrong. It was not there in the system only. So what happened? First of all, they have actually, you can say, violated the confidentiality agreement. They have disclosed the name also. They have not removed it again without checking the case judgment, cross-checking the case judgment. They just sent the response to the GST department without cross-checking it. So that's a wrong way to use the AI tool, because you cannot use the AI tool blindly. That is why we are saying, okay, whenever you are using AI tool, please cross-check yourself also whether they have given the correct judgment or not. Don't violate the confidentiality of your clients. Don't, so before feeding into the any AI tool, remove the name of your client, anything which actually violates the confidentiality of your agreement or with your client. So just remember this, whenever you are using AI tool, just don't believe it blindly. Of course, for I have already mentioned, you can use CA GPT. For that, every provision of income tax, direct tax, indirect tax, and lots of, so I will show you also what facilities it is providing. And I will request, whenever you are going for audit or for any finance related say job, please do refer that site. It's a wonderful gift from the ICA Institute which they have given to us. And when you are referring that, of course, it is always referring to our laws and judgment which are actual. So it will be actual only. It will not be just quoted or somewhere picked up from somewhere. So here in the auditing also, you can notice that PwC, EY, KPMG, they are using different type of auditing AI tool to overcome the challenges of auditing process. So what they do in order to identify any anomalies or fraud detection, they are using this tool. Now, how this tool is helping them? They are actually helping them to identify all this. Now, let us just refer some scenarios how the AI tools can be used in different scenarios, how you can use AI tools for auditing purpose. So say supposing an external auditor wants to identify fraudulent transaction from millions of entries. So what happens? You want to find out millions of entries. Just these are different AI tools which you can use, Caseware, Idea, MindBridge, AI Auditor. And how what you can do the whole AI model, what they are going to do, they are going to scan the whole transactional data and they will just sort it out or flag the unusual or the duplicate payments. So what happens, it becomes easier for you. You don't have to do manually. You don't have to go through the whole millions of entries, and you can simply check through this AI model, and automatically the flag transaction will definitely will be your area to audit further. So in this manner, you are shortlisting the prone areas and it helps you in the audit process in a faster manner. Now, again, if it can be used in the risk assessment, as I mentioned, this can be also used for risk-based sampling for audits. So if say supposing a statutory auditor needs to audit expense claims from employees. Now, what happens? Expense claim, you are checking manually, okay, this is the invoices which they have given or the claims which the employees have given, whether they are perfect or not. You can use different, again, AI tools. These are all, you can say, I'm not promoting any AI tool, I'm not promoting any company. I'm just giving an example how they are using these tools. Now, again, the AI will what the AI will do, it will select high risk transaction instead of random sampling. So what is happening? Sometimes we do random sampling and check, okay, this person is more prone for fraudulent activities. So it's not like that. They will highlight the high risk transaction and identify the transaction where the employee may claim unusual high expenses. So in this manner, you can claim the risk, you can do the risk assessment also. Now, whenever you are just reviewing any contract and document for compliance purpose, like for ESG and IFRS standard, if you want to comply, it's already embedded in the AI tool. You have to embed it. So whenever you are developing any AI tool, you have to contact your say vendor, and you have to tell him specifically ki I need the all the checklists. You have to give the checklist ki I need to check this. The AI tool should cover all these you can say checklist, and according to that they develop it, and of course you can do it accordingly. But don't forget to revise it again and again, to revisit that AI tool again and again, because it may happen ki there are new checklists which needs to be added, or the old checklist should be removed. So in this manner, you can keep on developing your AI bots when as per your requirement. You can just tell the vendors. So here what happens, if an auditor wants to review hundreds of supplier contracts for compliance, again, these AI tools can really scan and extract key terms. So they can extract the key terms and give a summary of non-compliant clauses. So this becomes easier again. So now audit, you can say, it is not matlab, you can stressed type of work now. With the AI tool, with the assistance of AI tool, earlier with the help of article clerks, we used to do again article clerk. They were also prone to errors because they were also beginners. But now with the help of with the assistance of AI tools, you can definitely overcome the stress of audit, and it can become simpler for you. You can become more accurate. You can just catch hold of the all the non-compliant things which has happened, any fraudulent activity. You can do the risk assessment very easily. Now, again, when you're doing internal audit of any organization, you needs to, of course, check on the inventory transaction in real time. So you need to monitor that. So of course, this can be again done with the different AI tools. And believe me, I'm telling you, these are all examples of different AI tools by different organization. It's not necessary you need to use these tools only. As I have mentioned, you can develop your own AI tool or own AI bots as per your requirement. Or now there are very free, lot of free versions of AI tools which I will be telling you. You can use that, and accordingly you can just develop your audit process, audit trail. So here AI, so all the inventory records. So I remember when we used to go to the inventory audit, lot many things we used to. So once I went for iron and steel ka nuts and bolts ka stock audit. So lot of things we were doing in the whole day. Now with that, you can say documentation provided to you with the AI tool, you can easily track the inventory records and detects the discrepancy where it's there. Of course, they can never compete with professional like CAs, but yeah, but you can get assistance from them. So this is the benefit of you can use the AI tool. Again, cyber security audit of third party vendor is very important. Whenever you are using the third party vendors, the audit tools, please be very careful because it's quite prone to you can say hacking and password you can say violation. So please be very careful. So say supposing a financial institution wants to audit third party vendor for cyber security compliance. So what happens again with the AI tools, you can find out all the vulnerabilities which are there and check the compliance whether they are following correct procedure to actually maintain the hacking and other malpractices. So it alerts the auditor. So whenever, of course, during the internal control, you need to check the cyber security, the trails whichever is being provided to you. So please be very careful whenever you are using any digitalized system or cloud system. Please be very careful, and you can use again AI tools to check the vulnerabilities. I have already mentioned financial statement analysis. It's a boon for us because now you don't have to spend a lot many times in analysis of the part. You can get it done by the AI tools and add on your expert knowledge to it. So what will happen whenever you are giving the report to your client? It is an enhanced report. Of course, some parts are being done by AI tools, but obviously your report, your expertise, no one can beat. So that is the beauty of using the AI tool along with your expert knowledge and professional knowledge. So what is happening? A forensic auditor. We must have noticed that there's a huge demand of forensic auditing now, forensic accounting also. And forensic auditor needs to find out key, investigate any manipulation in the financial statements. So these AI tools again help them to detect any, you can say, flaws in the system, or while the analysis of the financial statement, you can definitely catch hold of the manipulation. Like earlier also, we mentioned that from the millions of entries, they can check the duplication of any entry. Any malpractices, they can easily catch hold of that, and you can focus on those areas only. So this was a thing. Now we have also discussed about the chatbot, which we have come across while dealing in the banking transaction, but we can also use in audit queries as well. So junior auditors, if say supposing any junior auditor is joining, any article clerk is joining, who is not aware of any IFRS compliance or say any other ESG compliance also, you can use chatbots to direct them. Okay, these are the areas you have to check. So you don't have to indulge or devote your precious time in all these, in training the auditors, junior auditors as well. So these chatbots, they can answer all the related queries which the junior auditors are asking or which they face a problem. You can also just ask them to train them regarding the areas which you're going to cover during the audit process. So this AI tools, these chatbots really help them, really is really helping you to actually cover, you can say, audit process. So that was the area which you can, of course, use it in through AI tools. Not only, so we have already discussed we can use AI tool in the accounting process also, in the auditing process also. It can also be used in the taxation, and it is being used by many companies. They are providing a lot of facilities. Now, of course, with the new tax regime, the deductions and the exemptions, they are going away. But of course, there will be a lot of complications in the tax, answering the tax queries. All these you can use chatbots also. You can use for the assistance, for the regular type of, you can say, questions, you can use chatbots for that also. So here, this again AI tools can be used for different deductions which your customers can claim. They can highlight the area. Okay, this is the area where they can claim deduction. So you just have to redesign your system with the AI tools as per your requirement, and you will see the wonders, or the you can see how best it can be used. Now, this is just, I just want to play how Intuit, again, I'm not advertising any company, but how Intuit is assisting in different, you can say, taxation and different areas. So you must have noticed that how Intuit. So this was just an example how Intuit is using its different tools. So one of the company is an example how AI can be used in different areas. Now what happens? We can also see how corporate governance can also be simplified with the use of AI tools. So you can see JP Morgan's coin system. They have really saved 1.5 billion. Can you imagine in legal cost by drafting 83% of subsidy disclosure materials. So all the routine work you can take the help of AI tools, and what happens? It becomes cost cutting, it becomes simplified, every task becomes simple. Again, there are less chances of errors, but never forget to cross check yourself also. So just don't believe blindly also. They are after all machine, and no one can overpower the means us. So that is why please do. So here in corporate governance, and also we have already discussed that again, ESG compliance or all the compliance related thing can be done through you can say your as per your designed chatbots. You can definitely go for it. Now, these are a few free AI tools which are available in the market or in the site. So Yahoo Finance API, Alpha Venti. So let me tell you, I also use this. So whenever I want to get update regarding the capital market, I do use this app, Yahoo Finance ka. And different AI tools you can use. Like for example, this can be used for gathering financial market data, market sentiment analysis. Okay, this has also become quite popular nowadays, how to catch hold of the market sentiment analysis. These are again different tools, Finbert, Alpha Vantage. This you can just go. Now, supposing I'm just giving an example, you don't know how to use this AI tool. It becomes difficult for you how to use this tool. Sometimes, in order to check the fraudulent activity, you have to use a combination of, say, Chat GPT, Power BI, and Python. If you have to use all three combined together. And say, I don't know, I'm not from, say, engineering background. I don't know how to use Python or something, some type of apps. What you have to do, you just take the help of Chat GPT. It is going to help you to give the step process where they are going to guide you how to use Python and Power BI also. So you can just feed into the whole data in this Power BI and Excel, and they will give you the commands also how to use it. So beautifully you can use a AI tool even if you don't know anything. So this can help you to use. So lot many of us also, including me also, who were not aware of the usage of AI tool. I tell you, believe me, I use that. I used ChatGPT to get the commands, and I can use lot many AI tools for my day-to-day work or administrative work also. So that can be done. So you can see there are different free AI tools which are available, and the use of this AI tool, how you can use this AI tool. So for stock price prediction, risk fraud detection, compliance reporting, all these are wonderful. H2O.ai I had visited also, and you can customize your chatbots also. So it is so beautiful. So there, with maybe some minimum charges also, you can develop your own chatbots. You develop your own AI tool and use it as per your requirement. So if you are not having huge means requirement for audit or for that accession, some area you want to use lot many, so you can customize the bots also as per your requirement, and you will have your AI tool there only. Whenever you want, you can use it. You can use, like, for example, if you want to communicate in your company with your, say, junior staff, you can use chatbots for that also. So it has become so easier. You don't have to just now undergo so many stress and lot of procedure. Now it is just a brief of different, I can say, how AI is being used in banking. So you can see banking may lot many questions are asked frequently. Chatbots they are using, any suspicious activity or credit risk assessment. For all these different AI tools are being used, and HSBC, ICICI Bank, they are using these types of AI tools, AMI, EVA, EVA, and they have really contributed to their, you can say, turnover and the revenue. Similarly, in financial services, we have already mentioned algorithmic trading, portfolio rebalancing, analyze stock. All these can be done through a AI tool. So these are the companies which are using Two Sigma, Bank of America. They are all using this AI tool in a different manner. Now you can see that, I don't know, it is automatically happening. 1 second. So you can see that in the insurance sector also, it has played very important role. You can claim the claiming of the, you can say, or whatever insurance claim you want to claim, it has become faster nowadays. Once I heard from one person also, यहाँ that we यहाँ claim आ गया. Okay, because of all these AI driven tools, they calculate very faster and they can just give you the claim also. Fraud detection has also really been done quite vigorously, you can say, in the insurance sector. And these are the companies which are using different AI tools just for their, you can say, administrative purpose. So thousands of letters, policy documents, all these are being catered through AIG Claude system. So Claude is again a free AI tool which you can use, and it's a beautiful tool, AI tool, which you can use for a lot of many communication purpose, lot many things you can use. So Claude is one of the things. Bajaj Allianz General Insurance, they are also using Insurance Samjo chatbots, and they use it to explain the, you can say, nuances of insurance to all the beginners. So this is now they don't want any agent also who can explain this. They can use the chatbot. So you can see how AI tools have changed the whole world, you can say. And so you can see these are, so for fraud detection, these are again simplified way of AI tools which you can use in the area of fraud detection, risk management, customer service, financial compliance. So you can see these are different tools which are being used for a different purpose. So you can see by this only, this is just an example. So you can see there are so many AI tools. So when you enter this world, you are going to begin confused with so many AI tools. Which one you need, you can choose. So that becomes again a difficult task. So what happens? I will suggest go with the basic. Start using this, and when you get adapted to the AI tools, then only you should go for the paid version and the high means, you can say, high-ended tools. Right now, you should always keep it to the basic. Try the small, you can say, all the administrative work through that tool. But later on, you can definitely switch over to that. But remember this, 80% of AI implementation failed. So never forget this, key AI is again machine. So it's you have to be very careful when you're using this. A lot of ethical considerations are need to be followed whenever you're adopting AI. Believe me, whenever you will go, you will see that even in YouTube, even in the research work also, you need to say how much proportion is AI you have used that. So AI, you can say disclosure is important nowadays. So whenever you are using AI, please disclose it how whether you have used it or not. And there are many contents which automatically gets red flagged and YouTube removes this. So please be very careful nowadays. So earlier what happens, if someone wants to give a prompt in the chat GPT, you try this, okay, I want to commit suicide, so give me the process. Now chat GPT will not. So there are a lot of guardrails now which the even the AI also has to follow before actually helping you, before assisting you. So you can see this, yeah, all these are ethical regulatory compliances are there which you need to follow. So never completely rely on the AI and just go with the AI. It definitely will fail if you are not taking precautions. Again, because of the I mentioned. Also, when we're using AI tool, just remember that just ensure that your staff who is using the AI tools, whether they are familiar with this AI tool or not. So before implementing AI tools in your system, just train your staff how to use that AI tool, then only you implement it. Otherwise, it will be a total failure of implementation. You will be spending money also, your everything efforts, it will go just in vain if you are not training your staff also with this. So because of these reasons, your AI actually implementation may fail in the system. So you can see this key, the challenges which AI implementation is facing. Now, to just conclude it, we can say it's the AI, of course, is transforming the accounting profession from a transactional function to strategic function. And of course, it helps you to monitor the company's financial data, personalize financial advices, investment strategies. But be very careful whenever you are using this because it may be, you can say, quoted with biasness, complicity, and the need for transparency. So please be very careful whenever you are using AI tool. There should be necessary, like I mentioned, necessary skill set of accountants and auditors to use the AI tool. So if they don't know how to use that AI tools, it will be a failure. So it's just a request, use the AI tool very carefully. It can really help you in your making your life easier, your audit, your finance, everything can become easier with the AI tool, with the usage of AI tool. But do not forget the challenges which they face. If you overcome those challenges, if you consider those challenges, definitely it will help to make your professional life very easier. To gather more information and to get a training, I've already mentioned you can always go for the certificate course of AI, wonderfully crafted, and it has really, it's a gift to the CA fraternity by the ICA. Thanks from my side. I hope I have just given a brief, you can say, highlights of AI, how it is impacting in finance and audit. Thanks from my side.
Thank you, ma'am. Very good evening to all. Like I see as Ankana Desai, feel a privilege to express our gratitude on behalf of Women's and Young Member Excellence Committee for the enlightening session we have just experienced. Ma'am, we don't have any question and answers. I think you have very well explained to our viewers, and they have learned various tools and learned about various tools which we can use to how our daily activities easily, and then we what precautions we should take while using the same. So heartfelt thank you to CA Pinky Agrawal for taking the time to share your knowledge and expertise with us. Your insightful presentation on impact of AI in finance and audit was not only thought-provoking but also highly informative. So thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah, now would invite CA Agna Vora to introduce our next speaker, CA Padma Shri Krasto. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Jankna Desai, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. Let us give a warm welcome to our next speaker, CA Padmasri Krashto, ma'am. She is a partner at leading CA firm with over 20 years of experience in audit services, specializing in industries such as insurance, financial services, and manufacturing. She leads the audit and assurance practice, heads corporate legal, and has expertise in auditing standards, ISQM, IFRS, and risk management. I will ask CA Padmashri Krasto ma'am to take up forward.
Hello. Hi, Agna.
Yeah. Over to you.
Thanks for the welcome. I think the earlier session was very enlightening, though I joined a little bit late. I'm just presenting my screen. Please let me know as soon as you can see it. Yeah. Can you see? Hello? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So I think after all the interesting AI, we come back to the documentation of bank branch audit. One of the things that I think almost all the chartered accountants want to practice in is the bank branch audit. There is so much impetus on the bank branch audit and the allocation, and there is a lot of opportunity in terms of how you do the bank branch audit. Before we begin with some of the specifics into the audits, this is a table of content just for everyone's knowledge. As we know, the banking industry per se is the backbone of the economy. If something goes up and down over there, there's a lot of impact on the entire economy. Now coming to the types of bank, we have various types of bank, which is commercial bank, regional rural bank, cooperative bank, development bank, and various types of foreign banks, payment banks, small finance banks, and exim banks. As we all know, we have limits in terms of how we actually take the bank branch audit. So when we are taking a bank branch audit, we have to take care of our eligibility, the qualification, the conditions, and then we also have to ensure that we are ready to take up that role and we are updated in terms of all the bank circulars, RBI circulars, and the relevant things, right? I think I'll briefly touch upon few of the important aspects, the practical insights into how what are the things that one has to take care when you are doing a bank branch audit. The overall planning of an audit. When we speak about the planning of an audit, it involves a lot of effort. So how we see it, or even theoretically, when we talk about planning of a bank of an audit, basically that is the main part of the entire audit, and then that should take a considerable time so that our execution actually happens faster and it is smoother and it is not held up, or doesn't have any hiccups in terms of how you do the planning. Few things to consider. One, read all relevant RBI circulars. Ensure the scope. What is the type of the bank that you are going to audit? What is it that you are going to look into? Take up the checklist. There are guidance notes of ICI and available material that you are supposed to look at and you are supposed to study before you start off with the audit. Things that you have to keep in mind is that you will have to ensure that the audit strategy is in line with the expectation and the scope is appropriately understood. Okay, and then we have to document all these things. So before commencement of the audit, What are the things that we have to take care of before commencement of the audit? Before commencement of the audit, few of the things become very, very important in terms of coordination with the branch management. NOC has always been a sticky one. So we have to ensure that NOC is obtained because that is necessary as per Code of Ethics and Standards of Auditing as well. Next important thing is obtain basic information of what is the size of the branch, what are the activities that are being done by the branch. Is it only a lending branch? Does it have deposit holding? Does it have lockers? Does it have any other facilities? Because the portion of the RBI circulars actually and the compliances therein actually vary from place to place, from the type of branches. If it is a forex branch, if it is a treasury branch, then it will be, the requirements will be quite different. You may have to do an ITGC, you may have to deploy an expert in terms of how to do the forex audit and things like that. If it is only a service branch with deposit holders or the basic savings bank account holders, then it will be more of a routine approach. So this is necessary for you to plan. We can't go to the bank and then later on ask that, what is the activity, what is it that I'm going to look into? Because if you see your appointment letter, it already gives some kind of a background. So you have to coordinate with the branch and then get some details before you start stepping in into the audit itself. But generally, what happens is that people start off the audit, they go there and then they start inquiring as to kya chal raha hai, what are the things that you take up, what are the things that is happening here. Then they will start planning. It's a not a very good approach to do that because you will be spending more time, or because you have a limited time, then you won't be able to give out quality work over there. You will not be able to do the quality work over there. So that is why these steps actually helps you in that proper planning. Then next thing is that a normal branch based on the size of the branch. So the SBA should also organize his audit team, and then the branch auditor should also organize his audit team and make an audit plan. So you have to go as per the requirement of the auditing standard, and you have to make a plan wherein you will actually look at what are the things that you are going to be dealing with. If it is specialized branch, as we mentioned, that if it is a forex branch, if it is a lending branch, or if it is a branch that has a lot of lockers or a deposit holders, anything. So depending on the type of the branch, you will have to ensure that those people who have the expertise are doing the audit. So they are acquainted with the rules, regulations, and everything. Now, banking is industry which undergoes a continuous change. What circulars you may have seen last week may not be there, especially at the year end. There are lots of circulars that come up. How do you update yourself? Different ways of getting yourself updated is number one. There is a guidance note on bank branch audit. So please make it your Bible. Please read it every day. In the sense that whenever you want to do the audit, there are checklists given there. There are inquiry questions given over there. Please ensure that you make your working papers or quick questionnaires in line with that. Second, what is the basis of knowing this is that regular read of the RBI circulars and the relevant material. Third thing is every year I think there are a number of bank branch audit seminars that are held by the ICI. Please be part of those seminars so that we can earn more, get more learnings into it, and then earn more knowledge, and which can be actually employed, which can be actually deployed. The problem with a dynamic industry like a bank or insurance is that there is so much change that happens here. It may be possible that if you're going with the older approach, you may be leaving out something which is necessary to be compliant with. You should have done that as a compliance. You are not actually looking into those things in terms of compliance, and then you are losing out on that, and then that becomes a issue later on. Because if RBI or if the head office inspection or the RBI inspection comes to they come to conclusion, or they have some findings, then and the bank branch auditor does not have that finding, then it becomes a subject matter of discussion as well as some implications over there. So as we mentioned, it is mandatory to have some basic knowledge about the RBI's regulations, circulars governing specialized bank branch. Also to look at the entire non-financial verification, like what are the things. So we'll come to the audit procedures later on. But then you need to not only plan the time for doing the specific audit of the financials over there, but also you will have to document or you will have to verify a lot of non-financial information as well. So you need to allocate adequate time for that as well. What are the engagement and quality control standards in relation to bank branch audit? So basically, this is about the firm, right? It's about any audit that we do. So we are all governed by SQC1, which is actually the overall basis of SQC1 is it is issued in 2009 and it is mandatory for all the firms who are doing any kind of assurance functions. If I take example of any peer review, any QRB, any kind of regulatory review, they may see sample of files, but then they will definitely see the SQC1 or the compliance with the quality standard of the firm. And this is by and large the rule. So they will look at the SQC1 compliance and then they will look at the specifics of the firm, of the engagement, I mean to say. So the policies, procedures have to be in place so that the entire audit runs smoothly. In that, you will have to have some standard procedures. How are you conducting the audit? Where will you store your documents? How will you actually collect the evidence? How do you process the evidence? All these points are necessary to be adhered. So from the overall angle, this is the requirement for the firm. Now coming to the branch audit, there are two standards, right? One is SQC1, which is at the firm level. Then there is SA 220. SA 220 at each and every engagement level. Whenever you are doing any engagement, SA 220 also becomes applicable. When did you accept this audit? What made you accept this audit? What is the risk analysis that you have done? Who are the people? Whether they are experienced, allocation of people, whether it has happened properly, whether they are given or adequate resources, whether they are enabled with all the requirements. So these kind of questions you have to answer in terms of documentation. So generally what happens is that, we know all these points. It's not that I'm talking about something that has never been done or you have never been, subject to these kind of questions. We all know these questions, but the point is only about we are not writing down all these points. So when there is an inspection, when there is a regulatory questioning, when there is a peer review, when there is a QRB, whatever kind of reviews, NFRA reviews, whatever you call it, the only thing where we see the gap is that, oh, I thought about it, oh, I knew this, but I have not written this. And that becomes a very crucial or a critical matter in terms of documentation, that we have not done the step by step documentation. It's very much said that if the journey is well begun, it's already half done. And in other words, if I have to say, we have to make it a motto that if audit work is not documented, then the work is not done, because we are not producing anything tangible over here. It's more of the audit work, the service that we provide, and then that is why we need to have the tangible evidence sorry, in terms of how we have done the work. So it is necessary that we do all this preparation and then start doing the audit. But often we have seen that, we get an allotment letter, we get the branch audit, we're happy, we want to start off the audit, we send two people, and then we start the audit from there. So there is less of preparation, there is less of all this groundwork that has to happen. One has to do all this groundwork, but then there is very less of all this preparation, and we just jump on. So it's the similar way that there is a war, but then you're not prepared for the war, and then you're not wearing the armor, you don't have the right weapon, but then you want to wage the war, and that's when the problems arise, or that's when the blunders happen. And there's no proper planning. You go there and then you realize, oh, this branch has forex. Okay, But last time I did a branch which was only servicing branch. Now, where are the circulars for the forex? Where are the circular for the treasury department? Let me search. So we should not have that kind of an approach. So it will waste time, it will waste effort. Another thing that becomes a challenge is that when we send juniors, we have to train them beforehand. We have to send them for a seminar or we have to train them personally, but we have to put some effort to train them. What happens is when juniors go over there and then they start asking questions because they don't know anything and they believe whatever the client tells us is the only way or the only truth because they are not well aware of the rules regulations. They cannot appreciate or ask an extra question as to what are the things that are being done. So these things, in order to avoid these things, planning is very much necessary. I'm spending I spent this 7 to 8 minutes specifically on planning because largely when we see any of these published reports of QRB or FRRB or whatever kind of reports, we generally see that there is a big gap in terms of documentation of the planning. So all these cannot be afterthought. It has to be before thought, and then we have to begin the engagement appropriately, and we have to take it forward from there. Right? What is it that an auditors need to have, or he needs to study? He has to look at the appointment letter. Why he needs to study the appointment letter to understand what is the type of the branch, what are the functions at the branch. RBI guidelines and circulars we already discussed. Banks closing circular. Now this is very important. Every bank has its own closing circular. So the head office actually issues a closing circular to each of the bank to say that these are the steps that you have to follow to close the accounts as on certain day. So if you are going for a half yearly closing or if you are going for a year end closing, let me take an example of year end closing. We're sitting on 26th March today. So we are taking an example of year end closing. So there will be, for example, steps on what are the things that one needs to do, how to close the ledger accounts, how to pass the MOC, how to maintain the MOC, what are the IT systems that needs to be logged, what are the systems that needs to be looked into, and what are the different approvals from different departments that one has to take. So everything is written in this closing circular. Generally, this closing circular runs into few pages. So when you go, when as part of the planning, please ask for the bank's closing circular. The normal answer that you receive is that it has not yet come. It will come in the last week of the March or the 10 days before March. So by now, largely it is circulated. Everyone will have it. But then if you're planning in the month or the beginning of the March, they will say we don't have it yet, but then you can definitely ask for the last year's circular so that you can start planning towards those things, because between the last year's circular and current year's circular, the circular references of the RBI plus some more items will get added, but there is seldom there are chances that things will get dropped or deleted, right? So you will need to ask for that bank closing circular. So please read that, study that, and that bank's closing circular will also have references to various RBI circulars and other guidances, which internal guidances that the bank has issued. So there are some policies that the bank may be following, right? So say for example, if there are settlement of certain transactions that has to happen, the clearing transaction. So it is T+1, or if it is T+0 for RTGS, it is the number of hours. So every bank has different policy. So this will help you in knowing that what is the bank's policy also. Or there will be references to these kind of internal guides. So for example, for clearings, if it is T+1, then what are the clearing rules? What are the documents that they need to look into? So there will be a guide for the bank branch. So you need to obtain this bank's closing circular, study it carefully, and then bifurcate that circular into whoever you are sending for audit. Say, for example, if you're sending one senior and two juniors, then you will have to make them responsible that out of this entire circular, entire closing circular, one person will do this portion, another person will do this portion, and the one who will verify all these things. So this kind of planning is required and this kind of study is required. We can't go to the bank and then ask for like, oh, you have closing circular, can I get a copy? Now I will start reading it. So that will again waste your time as well as the client's time. So client will also appreciate if you come prepared and you ask targeted questions. That is when they will see you adding value to the entire process, because otherwise it's a routine knowledge to them. And also the additional laws that are applicable for the engagement for the branch audit that is required. For example, your Indian Contract Act, because they will be having a lot of agreements with the borrowers, the Stamp Duty Act, which is necessary because lots of documents get franked and lots of documents are based on the agreements and all are stamped. So you need to have a basic information about the Stamp Act, not only the Bombay Stamp Act I've just written for example, but it's the Stamp Act that is necessary for the state. Then the Negotiable Instruments Act is knowledge of that Negotiable Instrument Act is very, very necessary as to when negotiable instrument, what is a negotiable instrument, when it is presented, when it is not presented. Now, in the current scenario, having a knowledge, if you're getting a treasury branch, then definitely getting some knowledge about how the treasury branch functions, how the forex settlements happen, how the MTM happens. There is all these are complex things. Now, for example, if a branch has a lot of treasury functions, sometimes this forex dealing is also connected to an external website. Then you will have to look at the SOC type 2 report of that external entity, how the data is getting put into the system, how it is actually happening on overall basis. So all these things need to be verified. So these are some of the preparedness. So in the previous slide as well as this slide, this is a basic prep, and also obviously as we mentioned, the guidance note issued by the institute should be the basic document which you will always be referring to, verifying, and then you will be documenting in accordance with that guidance. Yeah, how does the appointment of auditor happens? We all fill in the MEIFs and the bank branch auditor, and we all get the MEF empaneled, and then after due verification of the details, approved list of CAs is submitted to RBI. RBI then circulates this list to banks for appointment of their auditors. Then banks then confirm with CA firm about their willingness and their eligibility and confirm their appointments. Once the appointment of the statutory auditor is done, the final list is submitted with RBI by all the nationalized banks, bank branch auditor, statutory auditor, it is submitted. One of the things that I have not added here, which I would like to discuss, is about the independence and conflict of interest. This is a growing area of importance along with all the regulators, all the reviewers, and also this is necessary to be looked into by all the auditors by default. Now, coming to specifics of bank branch audit, there are specific regulations in terms of what amounts to a conflict of interest and what amounts to non-compliance or independence issues. For example, holding loan with that branch, borrowing from that, holding loan in the sense borrowing from that branch, holding shares of that bank if it is listed, then giving a guarantee to one of the persons, one of the account holders in that bank. So there is a FAQ, there is a listing of what all cannot be done. Now in bank branch audit, when the reviews happen, this is a common feature that there are independence issues. Now, these independence issues are, in various cases, which is actually with the ICA disciplinary committee also, is that the things that are argued is that, I was not aware of it, I was not knowing this is not how it has to be interpreted. So I think in terms of bank, one has to be more conservative in terms of independence, and independence can be taken for granted. So conflict of interest and independence play a very crucial role over here, and that has to be ensured. There is a list of FAQs on what all can be done by a bank branch auditor and what all cannot be. For example, stock audit is not permitted by a statutory audit of a bank branch audit. Then holding loan is not permitted, as I discussed. Giving guarantee to any of the accounting holder is not permitted. So there is this FAQs and there is this list which you have to go through and you have to study. And before you accept the bank branch audit, you have to be ensuring that you meet with all these criteria. If you're not meeting with this criteria, then you should clearly, when the bank approaches, you should clearly actually tell them that I'm conflicted, I can't do the audit. So audit is not about everything that comes through the door, I will be accepting. There are client acceptance procedures, there are independence and ethics procedures that we all have to follow before accepting the client, and these come from SQC 1. Okay, so these are the things that are necessary to be looked into even before the start of the audit. Understand the business. Nature of activities carried out at the branch. We already discussed what are the nature of activities, treasury, lending, whatever. Requirements of SA 315. Now, what is SA 315? SA 315 is identification and assessment of risk in an audit. So, one of the perceptions that exist is that SA 315 is only applicable to central statutory auditors of bank. No, that is not the case. It is for every audit. It is not distinguishing between this audit and some other audit. It is actually required for every audit whatsoever. Now, when we talk about SA 315, how do you identify the risks? At a bank branch, what are the risks? So, when you go to the guidance note, there is a set of explanation that is already given that what are the risks that can be there in the branch, depending on the type of the branch, the nature of the bank, the listed, unlisted, what is the type of nationalized bank, what is it that you are looking at. You have to then determine your risk, and then accordingly you have to actually identify what is the significant risk, what is the normal risk, and then you will have to plan your procedures. A complete knowledge about the banking products and the products which are being periodically introduced. So we need to have a master list of what are the products that the bank are offering, especially that branch is dealing with, and then products that are discontinued during the year, products that are introduced during the year. So we need to have a list of that so that we understand the business well, and then it will help us identify the risk as well as planning the work. What is the financial implication of the above products? So when we are looking at the listing of these products, then we have to obviously look at the financial implication of these products. Type of facilities that are provided to borrowers and the standard operating procedures should also be studied, because every bank will have its own standard operating procedures, and they will have certain limits what the branch can do, and then it will be the rest of it can be done only by the HO. So that limits will be there. Then authority, SOD, or the segregation of duty and authority matrix, what you call as. So where is this matrix arising from? Who is approving it? What is the segregation of duty? What is the authority matrix? Who can approve what? For example, a loan of 10 lakhs can be approved by, say, mid-level, mid-senior. 10 to 15 lakhs, 10 to 50 lakhs is approved by someone else above him. Then the 30 to 50 lakhs is above that person, then so on and so forth. And then above 50 lakhs, everything to be approved by the HO. I'm just giving an example. So this authority matrix has to be very well understood, because these are the things that we are going to check. Additionally, if the IT systems are complex, then it is necessary that we do a IT complexity verification also. Now, there are practically at times the bank tells us that IT system is not with us, it is with the HO. So I don't know what happens, everything system does and I look at. But such things you will have to discuss with the central statutory auditor of the bank also, and then understand from them whether they have found any weaknesses in the audit of ITGCs. And then this communication becomes very necessary, and you will have to retain this on file. This is again another miss that actually does not everyone does not do it, right? So this is also very much required, because when it's always the other way around. People think that I am the central statutory auditor, so I don't have to look at anything. I don't have to answer anyone. At the same time, branch auditors will have to report to me. Yes, at the same time, you will have a two-way communication. If you have any questions, if you have any risks that are pertaining to a larger piece of the thing, you are very much allowed to communicate with the statutory auditors, central statutory auditors, and ensure that you both are aligned. For example, if there is a ITGC, if there is a complex system, right? So generally in banks, you will have the core banking system and stuff like that. You have a complex system. Now you are testing granting of loan, okay? But then the ITGC with respect to granting of the loan is already uh, not there. For example, it is not working or it has failed. Now what do you do with that? Okay, So if that is the case, then obviously you will have to look at the alternate control, or you will have to look at something else. You can't sit there and we can't, close on it saying that this ITGC system is not working, but for in my branch, I will just test based on the system approvals only. So that will go against it. So that is when the coordination becomes a issue. So these things you will have to take care of, because these are the common pitfalls. Then next, based on the features of the products, then you will have to make the audit plan. So audit plan will have to be made not only on the basis of the turnover of the advanced size of the branch or the activities of the branch, but also on the basis of the products. Risk assessment, as we said, you have to be very clear on what is the business profile of the branch and how it has to be looked into. We have to find out the roles and responsibilities of the branch officials, internal controls in operation. If there is any internal audit that has happened on that branch, we will have to ask for those reports, look at all the observations, if at all we have, and then accordingly we will have to go ahead on the planning piece. Most of the banks have converted their branches as customer facing point. So there are lots of contacts and selling and contact and sales, and almost all processing or decision making is generally centralized. So it's all generally customer facing, but always the many decisions are centralized. So there's a centralized system. That's when I mentioned that you will have to coordinate with the central statutory auditor as well. So based on all this stuff, once you gather all this information, then that's how you will plan your audit. It may be sounding a little bit detailed, but then if you do this, then you will spend a very little time on the ground asking many questions, and then you will be in a more comfortable position in terms of doing the quality work. Again, requirements of SA 300, that is planning and audit of financial statements, to be kept in mind. Preliminary inquiry to know nature size of branch, depending on nature of transactions executed at branch. Audit planning has to be designed. General branches will have one set of audit plans. Specific will have certain sets of audit plan. Everything put together will be required. Now, once we determine all these things, then we will have to come to how many resources are required, what are the resources, what are the timing, how many days, and all that. Then there is a detailed letter requirement list that we will have to prepare, and we have to send it to the branch management well in time, asking for all the details. So the requirement list has to be comprehensive enough that it will cover all the areas. Another important thing I mentioned is the internal audit report. If there is anything in the internal audit report, we will have to take care of that. Previous year's report also is very necessary. Beforehand, we have to look at the previous year's report and any MOCs that are passed, so that becomes as a ready reference to look at the entire branches audit and to plan as well. So in the document, in the audit plan, then you will have to plan about the direction, supervision, and the review strategies. Who is going to do what, basically, and who is going to prepare, who is going to look at, and who is going to do that. So in summary, we talked about like almost 20 minutes on the planning of the audit. Out of the 1 hour, I think we have talked about the planning of the audit in for 20 minutes. What are the things that we need to be documented as a minimum thing? Now, obviously, this is a bare minimum. You will have more. Initial audit engagement questionnaire we have to prepare. Materiality level in accordance with SA 320, and we have to document the same. We need a checklist to identify the deliverables and also to ensure RBI circulars compliances. Engagement team discussion, whatever they have discussed, how they have assessed the questions, risks, questionnaire, what all is they're going to ask the bank, and how they are documented. How are you going to actually look at the initial queries, that is not about the planning itself, as to what are the risks, what are the things, what are the identification, all this. Do you need any experts? If they have any specialized products, do you need any additional experts? Who signs the working paper, when it will be signed, what is the reporting deadline, who are the relevant audit staff? So all this needs to be documented, in other words. Then coming to audit procedure. Now, this I think I have not covered very much in detail, because obviously every every specific financial statement line item will have a set of audit procedures. You can refer to the guidance note. It's very elaborate, and you can actually pick up those verification procedures directly from the guidance note, and you can actually apply those things. What are the types of things that you can do? First, you are looking at internal control. So you can do a test of control. If some of the controls are done at the HO level, what is it that is functioning at the branch level, complementing to the HO control? That is something that you can look at. So that will give you some amount of comfort. Second is analytical review. Analytical review is very, very important because that gives you overall picture. So I think in the session before, the speaker talked about a lot of AIs that you can use. But then if you carefully choose the AIs which are actually not too much in the uh, has got any security or other issues, you can definitely use it for some better analytics. Third important thing, yes, how do you verify all the RBI circular compliances as well as the procedures? Fourth important thing, what are the SOPs of the bank and how you are complying, how the bank is complying with the SOPs. Additional documentation verification, for example, for loan or borrowing accounts, what are the documents that are verified, whether the covenants are verified, breach of covenants, then identification of the biggest thing in any of the bank branch is the NPS. How is the NPA treated? How is the default treated? How is the basically LGDPD, in other words, which we are talking about? How is that treated? When is the default treated as live default? Whether interest is accrued on that as per RBI circular, whether it is in line with the IRAC norms of RBI, all these things will have to be looked into. So this is obviously NPA is a high risk area. So anywhere and everywhere, NPA is the struggle. So whatever we do is not enough in terms of testing of NPA. So you have to make a very detailed plan on how will you test NPA, how will you identify, how does the bank, what is the SOP of the bank first? Are there any loopholes or are there any gaps as compared to the RBI circular? If everything is fine, then the next step is check each and every step of identification of NPA. Take the accounts and do the analysis. There are many tools that are available, audit tools that are available, like IDEA, ACL, and Excel add-ins also that are available to analyze the data. So please don't go by what is already identified as an NPA. Please always look for what is a potential NPA that is not identified. That will only be giving you insight. So you will have to go through those procedures to actually check whether there is any NPA sitting which is not getting identified by the bank directly. Because this is the main crux of the entire bank branch audit if you are looking at a lending branch, right? So then based on the RBI norms, we have to look at whether it is classifying as an NPA or not. Now, here the challenge is also about there are certain accounts which actually they will say there are certain banks wherein they will say that these calculations, these categorizations as per the Basel III norms, the categorization, the level classification, all this is done by the system. So the system is configured at the HO level. So there you will need definitely will need some ITGC support, and if you are not given access to, then you will have to ask the head office to confirm it to you that everything is being done. Now, by only confirming again, your job is not done. Because you are auditor of the branch, you will have to ensure that all these things have to be properly documented, and then you have a step-by-step, flow-by-flow process. Now, if you identify any queries, any gaps, any loopholes here, then it definitely has to form part of your documentation. One, where did the query arise from? Second, how did the query get resolved? If it doesn't get resolved, then where did it go? Is it part of MOC? Is it part of ML? Where is it? Is it a procedural query, or is it a figure, amount related query? So you have to classify and you will have to document all these things. What we generally do is, we come across a query, we discuss with the branch in charge or branch manager. But then what is missing is that how that query is resolved or how that query is actually reaching to a logical conclusion is something that actually doesn't get documented at all. Now, in all this whole piece, what is important is also the materiality. So you have to determine a proper materiality for the audit, and then you will have to look at what is material, what is immaterial. If so, sometimes like generally what happens is that people go behind the ant and then they will leave the elephant in the room. So to give an example, there are instances where they are questioning some 70, 60 rupees bills of some, snacks and tea as per the SOP, and rather missed out on the NPA classification of a larger account. So this should not happen. We have to ensure that materiality is both qualitative as well as quantitative materiality is adhered to, and at the same time we are looking at the right thing in the right perspective. That is when proper planning in terms of identification of risk, in terms of identification of qualitative quantitative materiality is very much necessary. Now, what are the audit procedures? What are the areas that are there in the branch? What are the audit procedures that we will perform? Is something that we have to make a standard list. Now, as we mentioned, RBI circular keeps changing, so there has to be update to those kind of areas. For example, in bank also you will have business area and non-business area. Now, what do I mean by non-business area? There are lots of areas like expenses, payroll, fixed asset. All these things are also lying at the branch. So these are not going to change every now and then. What is going to change is then interest circular, the IRAC norms, the lending norms, the covenants, the PLRs. These are the things that are going to change. So we have to bifurcate our entire area into two pieces. One is non-business area, one is business area. So non-business area, the audit procedures remain almost similar unless you have any major finding in the last year. So this can be easily planned, and that all documentation what we have is, quickly it can be covered. So if you have a mix of experienced team members, inexperienced team members, this is what we have to do. That, the non-business areas we have to actually look at specifically, and then non-business areas can be done by little lesser experienced people under the supervision of experienced people, and experienced people should be looking at the main business areas. So this mitigates our risk. So planning of this strategy is also important. These, you may be thinking that I know all these things, why are you telling me? But these are the smaller, finer things which actually, if you keep in mind, and if you procedurally, if you put it into writing, it saves a lot of time. Many a times we actually at the mid of the audit or after half of the audit, we think about this, oh no, I should have done this, it would have been better, but then we have, because we have not planned adequately, or we have not spent time on planning. So these are the things that becomes takes the front stage as such. So plan your audit procedures, think about materiality, think about what is the nature, timing, extent. Nature is how complex, control testing required, not required, analytical required, not required, overall, overall requirement, how you are going to meet OSPs if you are doing other substantive procedures. So sampling, vouching you are doing, when will you do, how will you do, what are the supportings you will look into, how you will document. Then matching with the RBI circulars, looking at the areas which are constantly changing, updating all the working papers in line with all this is part of your audit procedures, right? Further, understanding forms and contents of financial statements, various closing forms, certificates are to be certified by statutory auditor. Also understanding the bank closing process. We talked at closing procedures very much elaborately as to what are the closing circulars that the banks will have and how they will handle all this closing. Further, in terms of closing of financial statements, so there is a mixed practice. Many of the banks also close balance sheets. Some of them take a trial balance as well. But then whatever ledger balances we are certifying, we have to be very careful about it, because the form and content of audit report is also very much important over there. If there is a finding, if there is a changes, then we have to add or qualify accordingly. Now, how do we qualify at the branch level? Yes, there can be qualifications at branch level. Do not ever think that there can be no qualifications. It's okay. Head office, the central statutory auditor can look at the again materiality from his perspective, and he may decide to drop, but then at the branch level, if there is a finding, I can qualify as well. Along with the closure, there are various forms, certificates also that are to be certified by the statutory auditors. So when you are planning, please ensure that you plan for this work also, you plug in for this work also, so that you don't have to spend a double time. And you can leverage and use the synergy of doing those things well in time, and then you can plan it accordingly. Right? So understanding where is this forms coming from, where is this relevant circular coming from, and what is the process for this certification. So these things also have to be done. And while doing this certification, there is a lot of you know, how do I call it? There's a lot of non-financial information also that you will have to verify. So please ensure you make a list of it and then you are looking at. And ultimately, the final auditor's report, the long form auditor's report as relevant. Some people actually take some of the relevant pieces from the branch auditors also of LFAR. Whatever note down all the observations that has come to us, how have we catered it, how have we looked into it, and then whatever needs to be reported into the audit report, you have to have a appropriate functionality with respect to the same. While carrying out each of the areas simultaneously, auditor should make replies to all the relevant questions in the audit report, right? Now coming to obviously the summarization of the audit documentation in terms of the bank branch, SA 230 is the master documentation standard, which actually governs the entire gamut of documentation. The archival rules of 60 days also apply to any kind of audit, and it includes bank branch audit also. Bank branch audit is no exception, and we need to have all the necessary documents for whatever we have done and whatever we have carried out as our work. Audit plans, extent of checks, whatever we have to do, everything has to be properly documented. Whatever queries we have, how the same has to be resolved, and what are the nature of queries risen, whether they are being part of any of the observation, qualification, MOCs, that needs to be well documented as well. Bare minimum documents that have to be there. Now, this is not an exhaustive list, but this is an inclusive list. The checklist complying various laws and regulations that are applicable to the entity, documents reviewed by the seniors, risk assessment document including fraud assessment checklist if there is any fraud in the present past. Are there any indicators of fraud? Because the SA 240 also applies to bank branch audit. The materiality calculations, independence declaration as we discussed, abstracts or copies of significant contracts and agreements, minutes of meetings along with the management, along with those charged with governance. Those charged with governance will not be much relevant here, but then with the management. So most of these copies, these things actually these days come in soft copy. So take care that there is no error occurred in terms of storing, scanning, anything processing. So keep the final copies, and maybe you need to discard the older copies because we often get additional documents or amended documents over a period of time. So we need to take care that overwrite written documents are only like one document is kept and not multiple trail is to be kept, right? The entire meaning of audit documentation, as we said, it is into three pieces: audit planning, audit implementation, audit reporting. And what it means is always the record of the audit procedures performed, relevant audit evidence that we obtain, and the conclusions of the audit reached. And document means all the relevant underlying books, financial, non-financial, as well as any of the documents or evidences that we use, including any pictures, videos, correspondences, transcripts, whatever you call it, everything forms part of the document. And this is necessary to be kept at, appropriately. Authenticity of documentation is a big thing. So when we say audit comprises of three pieces, right? Inquiry, observation, and verification. When we are saying inquiry, we always ask this question, are you inquiring with the proper person? So the relevant people have to be asked the question, relevant question. For example, if you have an internal audit report and there are findings in the internal audit report, please go to the internal auditor and discuss. Do not discuss with the management who is the recipient of the report as to what has happened, because that is where the relevance and authenticity comes into question. when we are asking about the decision making, obviously we'll have to ask the highest authority, who may be the branch in charge or the branch manager. We can't ask a clerical person or a office boy and then make our discussion, right? Now, in terms of challenges that we face, we have a number of challenges. We have unique challenges when we conduct our field work. Because, you know, when we have a branch, it may have some sub zones, sub branches, some other entity, some other smaller places which are reporting to them. Now, some of these branches, nationalized branches also have this in interiors. So where you can travel, how you can travel, whether you'll be able to see those documents, if they are too much in hard copy, how do you verify them? All these actually become challenges. And then authenticity of documentation, because if the documents are also being scanned, provided to you, is it proper, is it not proper? All these things have to be looked into, and also confidentiality of data, authenticity of declaration. All these things have to be at all times ensured that they are in proper place. If some of the locations, if we are accessing from a remote location, then we should also take a declaration in the LOR saying that everything that is provided in copy or scanned is all that is actually originally available with the branch, and it is not something that is actually looked at only at the end of the period, in the sense that they are all authentic copies. It's not made up copies. That declaration has to go into the LOR also. That is a letter of representation. And never ever forget to take the letter of representation. Reference of documentation of SA 230, where all it is there, it is in all these essays that we can see. So documentation is all pervasive, and there is no exemption of documentation to bank branch audit. Things that we have to be kept in mind in the current scenario, everything is actually made available through electronic mode or scanned copy. So always ensure authenticity, who has signed it, how he has signed it. Audit documentation we also can keep in electronic mode or in physical mode, whatever we can ensure. But then if once archived, that is after 60 days, there should not be any changes to this document. That is something that we have to be able to provide. So when we are talking about documentation, three important things: reliability, authenticity, that is integrity, and relevance, and accessibility. I would say accessibility, integrity, and reliability. So these things are very important in terms of whoever is the regulator who is reviewing at the documentation. Proper number sequencing of the working papers is also necessary. Writing of queries in details. Working paper, whatever you are making, has to be signed, dated, approved by relevant level of audit staff. Importance of depicting the client's name, file number, accounting period, which are the areas that are checked, who is the audit staff involved. All these show that you have actually done it on real-time basis. It's not done in isolation. These things are necessary that you will have to document. I think largely that's all I have to discuss today. Sorry, I was given, I had a very short notice and I could actually gather these things and put through. So there are some formatting issues in terms of the PPT, but then try to cover as much content as is relevant over here. Open for any questions, please.
Thank you, ma'am, for this wonderful session. As of now, we don't have any questions, but I would like to thank you, CA Padmasri Casto, for apprising us. Also want to thank all the audience or who are listening to this session, ma'am. It is a very detailed, in fact, very minor things which we need to keep in mind are the details are given by you, and thank you all for this session.
Thank you so much. Thank you.